Hello, this is the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Thank you so much for tuning into this video on perimeter. So perimeter is the length around the outside of a 2D shape. Of course, 2D means two-dimensional. So if I draw here a rectangle for you, this shape is two-dimensional. One dimension is length, one dimension is width. It has two dimensions. So the perimeter of this shape is just the length around the outside. So because we're talking length, the units this is measured in will be things like millimeters or centimeters, kilometers, meters, all that. So to find the perimeter of a shape, all we need to do is add up the length of each of its sides. So the perimeter of this rectangle here would be all four of these sides added together. So don't tell me that the perimeter here is 22. A lot of people make that mistake. Because this is a rectangle, opposite sides will be equal. So this side over here will also be 10 centimeters and the opposite side will be 12 centimeters. So the perimeter here of this rectangle is 2 lots of 10 plus 2 lots of 12. And so that gives us 44 centimeters. Make sure you put your units when you're writing the perimeter of a shape. So the perimeter of this triangle here is once again the sum of all its sides. We add up the lengths of each of its sides. So note these dashes indicate that this side and this side are equal. So the perimeter of this shape, there are two sides that are 7 centimeters plus one side that's 6 centimeters. So we just add them all up and we get a total of 20 centimeters. How easy is that? So let's look at finding the perimeter of a few more complicated shapes now. So let's look at finding the perimeter of this shape here. So I've just put in a few right angles to let you know this is like two rectangles kind of stuck together because it's not obvious they're rectangles from my poor drawing. So even though this is a weird looking shape, we're still going to find the perimeter the same way. We're just going to add up the lengths of all the sides. So there are a few missing sides here, but not to worry, we can find their lengths very easily. So I know that it's 18 centimeters from here to here. So if it's 7 from here to here, this side here must be 11 because 11 plus 7 is 18. Similarly, if this side's 15 and this side's 9, this side here must be 6 because 9 plus 6 more gives 15. So now we've got the length of each side, we can find the perimeter very simply. So all I need to do is add up the lengths of each of the sides. So just make sure when you're adding them up, so I've got 6 sides being added and there's 6 different sides here. So if I add them all up, I get 66, and once again, the answer is in centimeters. It's important that we write the units. So let's now have a go at finding the perimeter of this shape here, which is supposed to be a few rectangles sort of stuck together. So this one might seem a little more tricky. So once again, we have a few unknown sides. So we can calculate this easily. This will just be the same as its opposite side here, 10, because I said they're supposed to be rectangles. So this side over here will also be 10 meters. Now we know that if this side here is 4, this side here is 4. That's what the dashes mean, that they're equal. Now we don't know this side, and this side. So that might actually seem like a problem. We don't know if it's like, say, 4, 7, 4, or we don't know if it's like 8, 3, 4. But it doesn't actually matter. All we need to know is that this side, and this side will all add up to 15. It doesn't matter what each side is individually. We know that if I add this, this, and this, I get 15. So I can just calculate the perimeter anyway. So those 3 sides here, 1, 2, 3, they add up to 15. And then I've got 2 lots of 4, 2 lots of 10, and another side that's 15. So I can just put that straight on my calculator, and I should get 58. This time the answer's in meters because each of the sides was in meters. Alright, the final thing we're going to do on this video, we're going to actually use the perimeter to find one of the side lengths. I'm sure you're just as excited as me, so let's look at some examples of this. So in this question, I've given you a 5-sided shape, so it's a pentagon. I've told you that the perimeter is 60 millimeters, and we're going to find what A is, A being the side length. So what is the side length of this pentagon if its perimeter is 60 millimeters? So this shape actually is what we call a regular shape. A regular shape has all sides and angles equal, so this is a regular pentagon. Each side is the same, which makes this question a lot easier. So to find what A is, I've just got to find what number do I add up to itself 5 times to get 60. Or in other words, what number do you times in order to get 60? So A will just be 60 divided by the number of sides here, 5, so it's going to be 12 millimeters. Okay, and of course that makes sense. The perimeter would be 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12, which is 60. So let's have a go at this question here. What is the width of a rectangle if its perimeter is 40 centimeters and its length is 15 centimeters? So let's start by drawing a diagram. So this will be our rectangle. Now this question is going to be a little more difficult than the previous question because the lengths here are not the same size. So we're told the length is 15 centimeters. So I'll label that. So what would be the width so that the perimeter here is 40? Now, a lot of people will just tell me the answer is 25 because 40 minus 15 is 25. Well, that's not the answer because if the width was 25 centimeters, the perimeter would be 15 plus 25 plus another 15 plus 25. It would actually be 80. So if the perimeter is 40, these two sides must add up to half that, which is 20. These two sides add to 20. These two sides add to 20. So the whole perimeter is 40. So this side here must actually be 5, because that means this side will be 5, this side is 15, and then the perimeter will be 15 plus 5 plus 15 plus 5, which is 40. How easy is that? All right, thank you so much for tuning into this video. This has been the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Have a great day.